Hey everyone, today we're diving into a book with a really powerful argument about how to unlock prosperity in Native American communities. It's an idea that challenges a lot of the old ways of thinking and suggests a pretty big shift. So let's get right into it. This quote right here, it's pretty much the heart of the entire argument. It draws this really sharp line between just surviving and actually thriving. This is the central idea we're going to unpack today, moving from a public, government-driven model to a private, entrepreneurial one. All right, so first up, we have to tackle what the book calls the enduring paradox. And it's a real puzzle, one that's been around for generations. Why is there still so much poverty in communities that are often incredibly rich in resources, culture, and amazing people? The book puts this question right at the center of everything. But not just to talk about old problems. No, the point is to challenge the usual answers. The argument is that for a long time, we've been looking for solutions in all the wrong places. And here is the big twist in the book's argument. The problem isn't a shortage of talent or resources or a lack of culture. It's the economic structure itself. The very system that was designed to help has, in many ways, become the problem. So, that leads us to the book's diagnosis of the problem, what it calls the public sector trap. This is where we break down what that flawed structure actually looks like and why it ends up holding back growth. According to the source material, the economic reality on many reservations is that they rely heavily on this public model. We're talking federal funding, social programs, and big businesses that are run by the tribal government. And while these are often started with the best intentions, the book argues this model just doesn't create wealth for everyday people. This comparison really makes it clear. The government model, it's centralized. That can stifle individual opportunity, and a lot of the money that comes in ends up flowing right back out of the community. But the private sector model is the opposite. It's decentralized. It's all about local people starting their own businesses, which creates more jobs and, this is the crucial part, keeps money circulating inside the community. So you might be thinking, okay, why doesn't a private sector just pop up on its own? Well, the book points to some huge roadblocks. Just imagine trying to get a small business loan when nobody's quite sure who owns what property, or trying to fight through a jungle of regulations just to open your doors. These aren't just little speed bumps, they're massive walls that can stop entrepreneurs cold. And this is a really important and compassionate point that the book makes. The economic dependency it's describing isn't a personal failure. It's not about a lack of drive. It is a direct result of the economic system that's been in place for a long, long time. It's a structural problem, not a personal one. Okay, so this brings us to the big turn. After laying out the problem, the book proposes the solution, and it calls it the Entrepreneurship Engine. So let's look at how this engine is supposed to build wealth that actually lasts. Now, to really get the solution, you have to understand this one key economic idea, the multiplier effect. It's simple, really. Imagine you buy a coffee from a local shop. The owner uses that money to pay her employee. That employee then uses her wages to buy groceries from the local store. See, that $1 you spent gets used again and again, making the whole local economy stronger. That's the magic we're talking about. The book has this fantastic visual for it, the economic flywheel. It's a positive cycle that feeds itself. It all starts when new private businesses get off the ground. That creates local jobs. Those jobs put money in people's pockets, which they then spend locally. That spending creates demand for even more businesses to open up. And with every single turn of this flywheel, it spins faster, building more and more wealth for the whole community. So, an economic flywheel sounds amazing, right? But how in the world do you actually get it spinning? This is where the book moves from just theory into real, practical steps for building a whole new economy. And the book lays out a pretty clear roadmap. It's not just one magic fix. It's about building an entire ecosystem to support entrepreneurs. That means everything from making small business loans easier to get, to mentoring and celebrating local business owners, to making sure the economy isn't just relying on one thing, like a casino or natural resources. And this is so important. This is not about just copying and pasting some generic business model. The real goal is what the source calls sovereignty-based development. That means building an economic system that works, yes, but one that also fits with the unique culture, the values, and the right to self-determination of each individual nation. Look, any big, bold idea like this is going to be complicated. There are critiques, and the path forward is anything but simple. So it's really important that we acknowledge the wider conversation that's happening around these ideas. The source material is very fair about this. It's a nuanced debate. So while the book champions private sector growth, one valid critique is that a heavy focus on individualism could risk undermining more traditional, communal ways of life. And while entrepreneurship is a powerful tool, it can't by itself fix generations of structural barriers. The key takeaway is that this is one very compelling vision, but it's not the only one out there. But at the end of the day, the book brings it all back to this one powerful message. It argues that true empowerment, true sovereignty, is deeply connected to economic independence. And that independence, in this view, has to be built from the ground up by local entrepreneurs who are supported by strong, reliable, and culturally aware institutions. And that leaves all of us with this final, really critical question. It's the tension at the heart of this whole conversation. How do you find that perfect balance between economic growth and cultural preservation? That is both the challenge and the incredible opportunity. Thanks for tuning in.